Welcome to chapter 28 of the book of Proverbs, the folly of the impious. I'll read a little in the Greek. We'll go through the chapter. Fevgi asavis, mithenos diokontos, dikeos de osperleon pepithe, the amartias asavon crisis egironte, anirthe panorgos katasvasi of tas. An impious one flees with no one pursuing, but a just one is secure as a lion. The idea of an impious one, a lawbreaker, a sinner that is living in his sin, flees with no one pursuing, always on guard to be caught because he's doing something he knows that's wrong, either adultery, being caught by a spouse, or robbing a store and getting caught by the police, or embezzling and being caught by the authorities, and so forth. They're always afraid of getting caught. It's not a matter of feeling free. You don't have to worry about anything. But yet, as a lion, a just one is secure. And a lion, using a lion because a lion is pretty much the king of the jungle, and he does whatever he wants to do, and everybody's afraid of the lion. Because of the sins of impious ones, litigations arise. Now I have these little marks here in the red. I want to take the comma out, so for a future time when I'm going through this and proofing it, I can make these changes when I see them in the red. But a clever man extinguishes them, litigations, suing other people. Now, there are reasons, I suppose, to take other people to court for certain things, or organizations, and that everyone that does that is litigious. Litigious. I don't know exactly the word, but they are not necessarily what it's talking about here. But ones that are lawbreakers, impious, for doing these litigations that are really not necessary. If a person wants to go to court all the time, I knew one man who did. He enjoyed it, looked up everything, and he'd go to take anybody to court over anything he could find. A clever man extinguishes them, doesn't do that. A vigorous man with impious deeds extorts the poor as a fierce and unprofitable reign. Somebody that has everything, then he extorts the poor people and to get blood out of a turnip, basically. Thus, the ones abandoning the law, they laud impiety. If you don't obey the law, a lot of people look at the law as something to disobey, and they brag on their not obeying the law. And this is not what God wants. The law to these people was the Mosaic law, but we have the law of Christ and the laws of the government under which we live. And I once asked a man, if you were out in the middle of a desert and you could see 360 degrees every direction, and you're at a crossroads and there was a stop sign, would you stop for it? I'd ask different people that, and some of them said no, and others yes, and they would ask me. I said, well, yeah, I would stop for it because it's the law, and I obey the law, not what I want to do. But the ones loving the law put a wall around themselves. They obey it and do what it says. Evil men do not comprehend equity. Krima, crime, is a derivative. They don't comprehend the right thing to do. But the ones seeking the Lord perceive in all. They look at what is the right thing to do, not the right thing for me. Could be the right thing for the other person if we care for them. A friend or someone, a stranger that's in need, rather than not helping the person, like Jesus showed the Good Samaritan, who was beaten up by the robbers laying there, and the Levite and the priest walked by on the other side, but the Samaritan, who was sort of an outcast, the Jews never accepted them, he went and stopped and helped this man who was beaten up. Better a poor man going in truth than a rich liar. And that's a pretty good analogy there. It'd be better to be poor in truth and telling the truth than being a rich person and lying all the time, because you're going to eventually face God for your lying. A discerning son keeps the law, the nomo, astronomy, the noma, but the ones who tends carnality dishonors his father, and we've seen that in the parable of the prodigal son that Jesus talks about, how he left, took all the money that the father gave him and went out and lived carnally, drinking and carousing, and lost everything and ended up tending the pigs, eating what the pigs were eating, and finally went back to the father in disgrace. And the father accepted him back because his heart was broken. The one multiplying his wealth with interest and usury gathers it to the one showing mercy on the poor. The usury and interest, now we're not talking about banks, but people, somebody's in need, supposed to just help them out, lend them money. Jesus says to do that, to lend without expecting something even in return, rather than more money than interest. And basically it's saying if you do that, the interest in the usury eventually is going to go to the ones showing mercy. They'll be given the rewards, rather than you may not be on earth, may be in heaven, but heaven is more important than even what you would get on earth. The one turning aside his ear to not hear the law, even he abhors his own prayers, because he's not obeying the law and not listening to Christ. If you're praying, then he even abhors his own prayer, may know that he's not doing the right thing. The one who wanders upright men in an evil way shall himself fall into corruption, causing people to sin. And the lawless ones shall go through good things, and they shall not enter to them. So eventually then the lawless ones will get into good times, but eventually they'll lose everything and stand in front of the judge and then lose it eternally. A rich man is wise to himself, but an intelligent, needy man shall condemn him. So the rich man, we had the rich man and Lazarus, and then Nabal, who was rich and dealt with David's men and didn't help them when they helped him. Then they were condemned. The rich people were, with the rich man with Lazarus going into Hades, and Nabal having a heart attack when he found out that his wife gave away the money to David. Through the help of the just ones, much glory shall come to pass. But in the places of the impious ones, men are being captured. So the idea of just people having glory and the impious being captured and sent to Hades. The one covering over his impiety, his way shall not be prospered. Sinning, try to cover it up. Your way isn't going to turn out the way you think. But the one describing and reproving shall be loved. The person that's telling other people that what they're doing is not the right thing, the impious ones will be loved, because once a person, if he does listen to the reproof, realizes that he's doing something that's wrong, can change his way, and he'd be way better off, and he'll be thankful to the man who reproved him. Blessed is a man who is struck with awe of all things through veneration. That is, God is in him, and he looks at the things in awe. Wake up in the morning, and you look at your food, and that awe is like, I didn't plant this. If it's some type of a vegetable or a grain, but yet God has given it to me. I have clothes on my back, and I have a shelter over my head because that God has given me that. I have an automobile or a horse, transportation, a wagon, whatever, and that has been given to us by God. A person can look at it that way. Everything is with veneration. That is, God is the number one source for all goodness. But the heart of heart falls into evils. But if you wake up in the morning and your heart is hardened towards the things of God, then very easily to fall into evil things, whatever they can be. A lion hungering, leon, derivative, transliteration almost, leon, hungering, and a wolf thirsting, is the one who is sovereign of a destitute nation being poor. Lions are generally not hungry. They kill other animals, and the wolves take care of themselves. But a nation that doesn't do these things is destitute, poor. A king lacking revenue is a great extortioner. The government doesn't have enough money, so it'll extort people in different ways, cause them to pay more taxes than what is needed, because their revenue could be wasted on a war or be wasted on all sorts of different things the government can waste things on. But the one detesting injustice shall live a long time. The one guaranteeing a loan, 3, of a man under accusation of murder will be in exile and not in safety. And guaranteeing a loan for anybody is not what is mentioned in the Bible here in the parables, many places, is not something we are to do. The one going justly is helped. You're doing the right thing, then God helps. But the one going by crooked ways shall be entangled. And the person that's doing things crooked, cheating, lying, stealing, all these different things, will get entangled in the things that he is involved in that are not of God. The one working his own land shall be filled of breads. You grow your own food. But the one pursuing ease shall be filled with poverty, with nothing. It's not going to really be filled. It's a play on the word filled, same word. Filled of breads, but the other one will be filled of poverty. A man worthy of trust in many things shall be blessed, but the evil one shall not be punished. So somebody that is trustworthy will be blessed, and the one that is evil will be punished. The one who does not feel respect for persons of the just ones is not good. Sees a person that's just walking with God, and many of the Pharisees saw Jesus in this way. They didn't have any respect for him, and that wasn't good for them. They lost their country within 30 years. Such a one will deliver over a man for a morsel of bread, anything for himself. A bewitching man hastens to be rich and does not know that a merciful man will prevail over him. Somebody that thinks he has all the gifts and everybody's going to listen to him, he can talk his way out or talk his way into having people give him money, and doesn't realize that really God allows the merciful person that gives money to other people rather than trying to get it for himself will in the end prevail over the bewitching man. The one reproving a man's ways shall have favors, telling good things and what he should and shouldn't do in a respectful, loving way, rather than the flatterer with the tongue, rather than if the person is doing something that could cause himself harm or others, and you tell him, reprove him, the flatterer with the tongue, oh yeah, go ahead and do whatever you want to do. Doesn't matter, there's no God, nobody's watching what you're doing, whatever you feel like, do that. There was a man who wrote a book, How to Be Free in an Unfree World, Harry Brown, and basically it was do everything that you want, be selfish. When you have everything you want, then you can help. You'll be happy to help other people. The one who throws off his father or mother, that's patera and mitera, paternal and maternal, the derivatives, and he assumes he does not sin, this one is partner of an impious man. He is a sinner. An insatiable man judges in vain because he's always wanting for himself. But the one yielding upon the Lord will be in care. Yielding upon God is not living for ourselves. It's living for Christ and for us Christians. And we will be in the care of the Lord, basically. One who yields to a rash heart. Such a one is a foolish one, doing something rash, a rash heart. Just do whatever you feel like you want to do, no matter somebody gets hurt or not. But one who goes in wisdom shall be delivered. The one who gives to the poor shall not be in want, and Jesus tells us to give to the poor. But the one who turns his eye will be in much perplexity. Now, the true poor, I believe, there's a lot of people now pretending to be poor. The government pretty well gives everybody enough food through food stamps and different agencies who give out food. But in those days, people didn't have government help like we do today. And they needed, if somebody was poor and they needed something, then we saw that, and especially with the brothers, then we are to help them, it says in the New Testament. But the one who turns his eye will be in much perplexity. Not a good thing to do. In the places of the impious ones, the just ones moan, because you're around a lot of people that are sinning, and you moan, oh boy. And but in the destruction of those, the just ones shall be multiplied, the impious ones are destroyed. But in this period of time that we're living with, I believe this is the great defection, the apostasia, It's not something that is happening. It's the people that are walking with God are the ones that are now being destroyed by the impious ones. Bad time that we are living in. Our next video seminar is in chapter 29. I don't know the title, but hope you join us in the next video seminar. Until then, God bless.